Live according to Zoom. Now, let's see if YouTube has us live. There's, okay. Yep, it's there, but not on the page where I can see it as yet. What in the world? Well, I'm trying to pull it up over here, you guys, where I'll be able to see any comments. There it is. Boy, it takes forever. Even though on my desktop it shows that I'm live and I can see myself on the YouTube side, for some reason on my iPhone, it's like it takes forever. I mean, I like to be able to see the live chat if indeed anyone, happens to catch it so that I can respond, right? Okay, so it's Saturday, January the 20th, 2024. And I did see where there is, and actually, thank you, DG Walker, for your comment in regards to Astro Butterfly. The moment I got that in my email, I knew I was to record it, but I just didn't get to it yesterday. Today is the ingress of Pluto into Aquarius again. Now it will go backwards into Capricorn for a short time in the fall of this year. But you mentioned, DG, if you're out there, that whatever it was that I was chatting about yesterday was aligned with that. Now, I haven't seen yet any astrologer's take on that. I mean, I am aware of what it means for us in many ways. Oh, card number 33, you who show the way. So if you're here now, especially if you're here in this very moment as this card came out, this is for you. If you're drawn here, I don't give any notification that I'm doing these lives. So if you are already, oh, okay, I wanted to try the other fairies, but boy, the fairies oracle has been really loud of late, so they really want to be heard. We are in for, from what I understand, some really interesting times over the next 20 years. So Pluto will go back into Capricorn briefly in the fall of this year, but then once it comes back into Aquarius, it will be there for more than 20 years. And, Aquarius, I did happen to see something by Astro Mama on Facebook this morning, and briefly what I read was that those with the sun, moon, and ascendant in Aquarius, you can bank on this being some transformational, and I mean hugely, apparently, transformational times coming up for you. My ascendant is Aquarius, and I've already I think that might be what all of last year, 2023, was about for me. The conversations with death that I've had, those kinds of things were all about preparing me for what's next. So, oh my, we did have two again from the fairies come out today, just like we did yesterday. And boy, oh boy, this is where uh, much of the collective is in these moments of now, and it can be held in several different ways. You know, this is the topsy turvets, and as you can see, whichever way you might want to hold this card, it gives an entirely different perspective on what is being viewed, right? And quite frankly, that's a lot of what we've got going on in the collective. But I find it very interesting. Now, himself came out last week, one day last week or the week before, card number 17, 8 numerologically. For me, this is the upward facing infinity symbol. The number 8 is, and it's all about not just manifestation for me, but eventually materialization. And what I mean by eventually, which definitely is the yang principle, by the way, the sacred masculine, right? Which this card absolutely represents. And he actually wants to go first. Again, the last card to show itself wants to be the first to be read. So that's kind of interesting to me. Um, ah, okay. Very interesting the way these are happening too. So, um, card number 17, himself. The key words for this card are natural law, life force, magic, shamanic power. Known as himself, this Siddha is guardian of both the hunter and the hunted, and finds no conflict in that because he understands the many necessary balances of nature, the living bond between all life. Himself is the breath that moves, the atom that dances, and his magic is in pure being, living, loving. Ojanus Journeyman and the Master Maker have the magic of doing, of the creation of things. The Bright Mother has the magic of manifesting and nurturing. Himself, he has the magic of procreation, of dancing the spark of life into being. His presence brings magic and life into a world where it is shaped and given form by Earth Mother. He dances as the Bright Mother gives us birth, powering us into the world. He is the Great Father. At the other end of our lives, he is the one who dances the great dance of life and death. And it is himself who, when the piper plays his lonely call on the wave-swept shore at year's end, dances upon the gate between the worlds, so that the dead may pass beyond. It is also he who is willing to sacrifice himself when that is necessary for the sake of those whom he protects. In between those two extremes, his wild yang energy is channeled through humans to benefit tribe and family. His family is all of us, human and animal. Shamans draw upon his power, and the best healers channel a balance between his power and the Bright Mother's nurturing energy. Even as our hearts beat within us, we learn to mediate the life force through joyful being and action, expressing this power through healing and love and trust. We become more like himself. When himself appears in a card spread, he not only indicates that a great amount of energy is present in the reading, but he also strongly energizes the fairy cards around him. Everything he touches becomes more of whatever it is, more alive, more vigorous, more powerful, more awesome, and more awful. This card in a reading can indicate great vitality, victory, or triumph, confidence, and power. There is leadership, an ability to command, steadfastness, and integrity, wild power held and channeled for the good of all by will. Himself speaks of protection, either of the querent or of someone the querent owes protection to, like a child or an elder. Acceptance of paternal responsibility is important, as are deep and committed relationships. He is the preserver of the natural world and its balances. Shamanic power may be indicated here, as well as a potential for spiritual healing. This card may also speak of erotic energy and passion and potent creativity. Well, that's kind of interesting on so many levels. As I was led again for the third time now to place my profile on a dating app. So we'll see what happens with that this go round. Well, this card definitely wants to come out next. And it did so before I read that, but as I was reading this, I could see why it's going the way it is. So from the Rumi Oracle now, we have card number 33. This is a master number. It is also a number that I hold in my own numerology. Not quite really clear it within myself exactly what all of that is supposed to mean necessarily. So the card is you who show the way. The logical mind runs away from drowning. Lovers accept drowning in the sea as their destiny. The logical mind finds consolation in reaching a level of comfort in life. Lovers are focused beyond their own comfort. Rumi. I have looked to you in my darkest moments, searched for you as though fumbling for the candle and matches during an unexpected and interminable blackout. I am the ship at sea, seeking you as my guiding light. Nay, I am the sea, rising up to the horizon, because I yearn to be closer to you. Then, oh, to my greatest relief, you rise like a phoenix from the ocean, casting hallowed golden light all around you. This great blazing angel of holy fire. In a sweet instant, my soul rests in your presence. The sea becomes calm. The darkness abates. Your light reveals truth. And through your loving presence, I know my true self again. I am what you are. Even when it appears I am returning after being lost in darkness, as though I could ever be extinguished, I am divine light. I am you, a living sun. Even in your unquenchable passion for service to humanity, to the world that offers you so much, there is a time when your most powerful offering is actually and most simply that of your presence. You show the way. You who inspire through how you choose to live and be. You who sometimes think yourself to be invisible. You who consider yourself to be of no particular or exceptional worth. Yes, you. You who, through your choice to live your truth, reveal my face, demonstrate my love, embody my presence, heal my beloveds, and love my creations. This oracle comes to you with a special message. You are an inspiration. And I swear to God, I hear Fawn Denmark. I hear Fawn Denmark Williams in my ear right now. So if you're out there, Fawn, or you're catching this later, let me just tell you that I got the message, honey. I did. I got the message. This oracle comes to you with a special message. You are an inspiration. You are helping those around you, and even many of whom you are unaware. You are doing this because this is your path. This is your way. This is your gift to live a life dedicated to the growth of consciousness. And through that dedication, inspire others to receive the loving consciousness of the great beloved that can benefit them so greatly, no matter what their situation or circumstances. And good gravy gracious, how I know this to be true for myself. I, as far as, the gift of getting to know me in ways and just being me unapologetically, um, and what it's done for me personally. So, there's that. Um, to live a life dedicated to the growth of consciousness, and through that dedication, inspire others to receive the loving consciousness of the great beloved that can benefit them so greatly, no matter what their situation or circumstances. You are not doing this through any effort or will. You are doing this because this is your nature, your being, your way. Just as the sun breaks through darkness and its own light, shining light with its presence by simply being, so too does your inner sun, your soul. You don't have to understand this or do anything with the information given, although you may find it of comfort or even be shocked by it, pleasantly, perhaps. It is just an acknowledgement of who and what you are, given freely because you are ready to receive such an acknowledgement. You are also being gifted through this oracle with a sign, a portent. This oracle is an omen, an issue too difficult for you to understand, no matter how hard you have been working on it, is about to be resolved. Well, that would be nice. I have to say, uh, you have no need to hold on to it or become, quote, more worthy of that resolution. It is going to happen according to the grace of the great beloved. And your job is to allow it to happen, to simply bear witness to the resolution. Even if you have no idea what is going on in the process, you may find, bear with me, that whilst you are letting go, the resolution happens without you being aware of it until after the fact. Then apparently all of a sudden, what was an issue is no longer so. You who help others are a worthy recipient of the help of the great beloved. Be prepared to surrender all plans and convictions about what you can and cannot be, about what you think you know. That's the biggest one right there, right? And what you think you need. That actually may be even bigger than what you think you know. Allow the benevolent grace of the beloved to take you through the great waves as the seas become calm and serene under the living divine light. This oracle brings the message that if you have a situation in your midst that feels impossible to resolve, the divine has it covered. Do the sacred honoring ritual, and you guys all know how I feel about that. If you uh, feel that you would like to have a copy of what this book calls the sacred honoring ritual, let me know. I will send it to you. I'm a big proponent of each being making their own. This way, you're not using someone else's words and someone else's. I mean, I use some sometimes to give me ideas or to inspire my own internal what wants to come through. And I feel we've put ourselves in positions by trusting others' words way too often. And so if you feel like you would like to know what this is, just let me know because I don't read those. Um, so it says to do that and let it be sorted out by a power greater than your own. It shall be sorted out, and your sun shall rise, just as day follows night again and again. So too shall your sun rise after any issue or struggle. Have faith and hope, and know that this is a sensible approach to any dilemma, no matter how serious it may seem. For what use is it to bemoan the absence of day, even on the longest night, when you know in every moment dawn is ever closer to breaking once again? Your hope, then, is not foolish, but wise. Wow. So, and this card says that it strengthens all the other cards around it. And this actually is an answer to a question that I've been asking myself, which has to do with, what I think I'm doing here on the YouTubes and you know, the whole what is my purpose kind of deal, because everybody's got that question, right? And we're all too anxious to run to somebody else who thinks they might know something more than we do, right? I don't feel that way any longer on any sort of level. We each have the answers for ourselves. All we have to do is trust in that. And I know that's a tall order since all of us have been taught from the time we're born that we can't trust ourselves, that we don't know. Because in truth, in a lot of ways, we don't even know who and what we are. We've allowed society, our parents, all the programming and conditioning that we've had our entire lives be what we understand about who and what we are. And boy, that's been a recipe for disaster for me personally. Anyway, I'll just keep it right here. Um, and and it's really been quite the journey to find out that, oh, wait a minute, I do know a thing or two about thing or two, you know. It's just been, learning how to trust that, right? So the topsy turvets. Okay, now this is one of those kind of cards. This is card 51. Numerologically, that's a six. The six is all about love, balance, harmony. And the key words for the topsy turvets here, we are again back to the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud and Jessica Macbeth. Uh, Change of viewpoint, fresh looks, new ways of seeing. When life is confusing, the turvets may come to visit you. Nothing draws them like a bit of mental muddle. They don't cause our disarray. We are very good at doing that for ourselves and each other. But they are attracted to it. Confusion is an important stage of growth. And see that's another thing. We've all been taught, oh, well, if you're confused, well, that's a bad thing. Not necessarily. It shows that you're at least considering something else other than what you've always known. At least that's the way it has been for me. Confusion is an important stage of growth, and they delight in helping things to grow. They live everywhere. Not only humans need their help and are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are quite prolific, so there are a lot of them. When the topsy-turvets show up, it indicates that someone needs to look again, to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. That's, one of the best things I ever did for myself was to keep an open mind, to see, sense, and feel, and know actually that each one of us, every being on this planet, has been traumatized, programmed, conditioned, indoctrinated into belief systems that may or may not actually be your own. I mean, listen, I'm a generational Democrat, or I was, you know what I mean? Generational. Being related to Harry S. Truman, my entire family was Democrat. I, I just thought that was, that's just one example. There are so many more examples of that. Like we all think the sky is blue. We only think that word is associated with the sky because we've been told that is the word for that color. I mean, that is just again one example. But there's so many of those examples in my life that as soon as I started seeing that, I started opening myself to considering other things, other ways of thinking and looking at things, taking the time to step to one side and considering, hey, wait a minute, is that possible? Is it plausible? And almost always it absolutely is. So perhaps we have made assumptions that are incorrect, and we have run into a brick wall built of those misconceptions. The Turvets ask us to back up, to question our assumptions, and to try to see things from the viewpoints of other people involved in our muddle. They ask us to let go of our attachment to our own point of view, to stop saying ought and should, especially about other people. Most emphatically, they suggest that we start trying to see things as they really are instead of as someone thinks they should be. This card is a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand is mentally upside down or possibly sideways. In a reading, the Turvets suggest that things need to be looked at from another angle. We need to back off from our emotional entanglement and look anew. And that emotional entanglement is exactly what I was speaking to in regards to, for me, how I started to recognize some of the things that I really believed were not actually my beliefs. They were the way I was raised. They were someone else's thoughts someone else's way of living and being that were not necessarily my own. And that's a tough thing to actually look at and admit to oneself, especially when you get to a certain age, and then open oneself to seeing things differently. Much of the apparent confusion about the issue is caused by a faulty point of view. Get the opinions of honest others and then relook at your own. Defensiveness and denial may be causing much of the difficulty. And a lot of people, I see that when it comes up within someone, that actually I saw it for myself as a trigger. That means there's something there for me to look at, something deeper within me that is calling for my attention. What is this about? If I jump to being defensive, if I jump to being in denial about something someone has said, generally there's something there for me to look at, for me to really feel into and feel my feels all the way through to completion and see what it's attached to. Most generally for me, I've found it's attached to something in my childhood, my young adulthood, the way I was treated about a thing, the way all manner of things that had absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand. So defensiveness and denial may be causing much difficulty. Try imagining that you are looking at the situation from the point of view of each of the others involved. This is not an exercise in deciding how the other ought to see things, but in discovering how they really do. That's been in my field. Those of you that have followed me for a while are well aware that I feel as though, even though I'm speaking English and you speak English, we have a completely different understanding of the words coming out of my mouth. And that is absolutely always going to be the case. If I assume that you understand exactly what I mean, oh, so much the pity for me. Because you can't. You've not lived in this body for 62 years with me. You've not experienced every single word like I have. Every experience colors the perspective that we hold. That's just a truth across the board, for me anyway. And for me to assume that because I said it in this particular way, that you know exactly what I'm speaking on, well, that's an assumption. And hey, everybody knows what happens when you assume. And so I don't do that sort of thing any longer at all. So words like ought, they're not useful at this time. The Turvitz card turns up, and another point of view does not readily, if the Turvitz card turns up, and another point of view does not readily suggest itself, it may be useful to draw another card for further information. Which I feel like this is exactly what this is meant to convey here. Because, in all things that everyone moves through, and morality is the largest one, in my view, because we each have a version of what we think is moral. And that is based on the way that we've been treated in our lives, the things we've witnessed, the, again, programmed conditions and conditioning that we've all had as we progressed through our lives. So for me, I never make the assumption that I understand exactly where a being is coming from, because that, again, is an assumption. And so for me, I can see where, wow, this is a pretty, well, and I'm feeling to draw another surrender card before we leave here today. I like the way that they decided they wanted to be read too, because it shows a very specific sort of progression. I will be recording a few things today. I know I said that the other day, but I got way late. But I am, boy, it's really cold here in North Carolina today, so I'm staying in and I'm going to do some recording. So I hope to, if the energy holds, if I can do it this evening, I want to do a hangout session tonight. Oh my goodness. I'm not surprised to see this come out. Surrender to joy. Y'all know that that's one of the ways I always end just about every segment that I do here is to move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself to you. Even if it's a horrific moment that you say, well, Sheila, there's no way I could find any joy in what is happening right now. It's awful. Okay, I get it. But if you allow yourself, oh, I don't know, even 3 minutes to pull back, step up on a rock in the middle of that swirling whatever is going on, and look for a different perspective from which to view. Generally, for me, it is, well, there's got to be something in this for me to learn here. If it's a horrific thing that has befallen me, then there's something the universe wants me to get from that. And that is, in these moments of now, for me, what my highest joy is to see that which I have not allowed myself to see before and to move accordingly. So, uh, it says, surrender to joy. A key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in random acts of smiling during both the hard and easy times. Keep surrendering to more joy. Like I said, even in the worst of times, in these moments of now, I feel as though they are happening for me rather than to me. That is a perspective that is so much more empowering for me, and and provides the opportunity to see so much more because I'm not mired down in whatever it is and feeling like, because, one of the things that is being made very clear in this book, and if you're following this channel, I hope you are uh, reading along with me if you have the book, or just listening. If I've put each one of these volumes in their own playlist here on the channel. And one of the things that this book talks about with the law of attraction is that thought thinks within itself. And I can see where that is absolutely a possibility, a plausibility. And then how much emotion and oomph we give to those thoughts, they become things because of the law of attraction. So if I allow whatever has presented itself to pull me down, and I'm just, oh, woe is me, all that's going to happen is more woe is me. Instead, I now see it, sense it, feel it as, oh, okay, wait a minute, there's something in this for me, something I can learn from this, something I didn't see about myself that before, that I'm being asked to consider now. And I can't tell you the difference it's made in my life, in my health, in the way I see, sense, and feel things. I have a newfound for me, honestly, inner peace that I've never experienced before, ever. So I hope this reading this morning has been helpful for those of you who were drawn here live and for those that may show up later. If indeed the energy holds and this old lady can hang, which last night at like 6:30, I started doing this as I was, as I was trying to watch something on TV. So, well, not TV, but on YouTube. So, if this little old lady can hang, I'm planning on an intuitive hangout session tonight. I know I said it yesterday and I wasn't able to, but if you want to know, either follow me on Facebook. I promise if I'm going to go live, I will give you at least a 30-minute heads up on Facebook that I am. And if I do go live, it will start at 9 p.m. this evening. And that's it for now. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I am going to say it. Do move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself. If you allow yourself a few moments to consider, there is always, my grandma used to call it more than one way to skin a cat, which it doesn't sound very nice, but you get the gist. There's always more than one perspective. It's whether or not you're choosing to see it, to allow it to reveal itself to you. Till next time, my friends. Mwah.